So, whoa! My voice! What happened to my voice?
Oh, there we go. You need to start reading to be fluent. So do it with me. I do the hard stuff like defining the words. You just need to click the 3 dots to read with me and repeat after me out loud to improve your pronunciation and speaking skills. The review for today's video is on Patreon, and get yesterday's extra vocab video talking about some super cool winter expressions that you can actually use all year round. Click here to become a patron and to support For Your English.
Thanks, guys.
Back to the story. Now then, said Gregor, well aware that he was the only one to have kept calm. I'll get dressed straight away now, pack up my samples, and set off. Will you please just let me leave? You can see, he said to the chief clerk, that I'm not stubborn and I like to do my job. Being a commercial traveler is arduous, but without traveling, I wouldn't earn my living. So, where are you going? Into the office, yes? Will you report everything accurately then? It's quite possible for someone to be temporarily unavailable to work, but that's just the right time to remember what's been achieved in the past and consider that later on, once the difficulty has been removed, he will certainly work with all the more diligence and concentration. You are well aware that I'm seriously in debt to your employer, as well as having to look after my parents and sister, so that I'm trapped in a difficult situation. But I will work my way out of it again. Please, don't make things any harder for me than they already are. And don't take sides against me at the office. I know that nobody likes the travelers. They think we earn an enormous wage as well as having a soft time of it. That's just prejudice. But they have no particular reason to think better of it. But you, sir, have a better overview than the rest of the staff. In fact, if I can say this in confidence, a better overview than the boss himself. It's very easy for a businessman like him to make mistakes about his employees and judge them more harshly than he should. And you're also well aware that we travelers spend almost the whole year away from the office, so that we can very easily fall victim to gossip and chance and groundless complaints. And it's almost impossible to defend yourself from this sort of thing. We don't usually even hear about them, or if at all, it's when we arrive back home exhausted from a trip. And that's when we feel the harmful effects of what's been going on without even knowing what caused them. Please, don't go away. At least first say something to show you Grant that I'm at least partly right. Gregor just gave this impassioned speech, but the clerk is obviously bugged out. He's freaking out by Gregor. If something is arduous, it requires a lot of effort. It's strenuous and exhausting and demanding. We don't get a d sound here. We get arduous. Arduous. Very arduous. Diligence is continual, persistent care and effort. The adjective is diligent. So if you are diligent, it means you are a hard worker. You're putting in 100% of the effort. Gregor says that people expect that he has a soft time of it as a traveling salesman. A soft time means an easy time. It's not very common. What is common is the adjective softy. If you're a softy, it means you're weak. They have no particular reason to think otherwise. Particular means specific. They have no specific reason to think anything else. To do or say something in confidence means to do it in private, to assume that someone will not share that information. So Gregor is saying, hey, you're the best person at work, and I'm telling you this in confidence. Don't tell anybody else. And lastly, if something is groundless, especially a complaint or an opinion or some information, it means it is not based on fact. There's no evidence, no proof for it. So if someone makes a groundless accusation against you, there's no proof. It's out of thin air. It's a lie, probably. And back to the book. But the chief clerk had turned away as soon as Gregor had started to speak, and with protruding lips only stared back at him over his trembling shoulders as he left. He did not keep still for a moment while Gregor was speaking, but moved steadily towards the door without taking his eyes off him. He moved very gradually, as if there had been some secret prohibition on leaving the room. It was only when he had reached the entrance hall that he made a sudden movement, drew his foot from the living room, and rushed forward in a panic. In the hall, he stretched his right hand far out towards the stairway, as if out there were some supernatural force waiting to save him. Gregor realized that it was out of the question to let the chief clerk go away in this mood if his position in the firm was not to be put into extreme danger. That was something his parents did not understand very well. Over the years, they had become convinced that this job would provide for Gregor for his entire life. And besides, they had so much to worry about at present that they had lost sight of any thought for the future. Gregor, though, did think about the future. Whoa, so I think Gregor might be getting ready to attack to try to keep the chief clerk in the house. We'll find out. But let's talk about the chief clerk because he is trying to get out of that place. They describe his lips as protruding. If something is protruding, it's sticking out. So his lips like this or something like that. Oh. And he was trembling. You tremble out of fear like this. Oh. You can also tremble kind of like shivering from the cold. Oh. And the way that the chief clerk was leaving, it was kind of like there was this prohibition, meaning a ban, not allowing something to happen. Because he was leaving so slowly, because he's scared of Gregor, this giant bug, that for Gregor it seemed like he was not allowed to leave. He was prohibited. To prohibit is the verb here. But as soon as he got 1 foot out of the door, he moved with panic, means with fear, anxiety, dread. And we do things in a panic. And all of this, from Gregor's point of view, seemed to be supernatural. When we talk about the supernatural, we're talking about all the things that exist beyond the understanding of science. When we talk about ghosts or zombies or laws of nature that don't agree with physics or the science that we think controls everything in the universe. And Gregor, for good reason, is worried about his position at the firm. Most often, a firm is a law firm where lawyers work, but a firm can also be another term for a company, although much more common when talking about a legal practice. Keep on studying with the Fluency Book Club podcast. Listen to that. Also get free audiobooks to listen to, ebooks, and e-magazines. All of that stuff's under the video.
And that's it. Oh no, it's stuck. No! Oh well. These videos are possible thanks to awesome patrons. Become a patron, support for your English, and get a lot of really cool shit.